The highlight of the AgLetter this time is the 14% increase from a year ago in farmland values for the 7th Federal Reserve District. This was the first time that we've had such a large increase in 8 years, and it's a period with expectations of even higher farmland values for the third quarter, with about 70% of the respondents indicating that there would be increases yet one more time in the third quarter, as well as about 30% saying they would be stable. So pretty strong, bullish kind of report for farmland values. Agricultural credit conditions strengthened in the second quarter of 2021, highlighted by the lowest repayment problems in 7 years, according to the survey. We had only 2.8% of the farm loans that were in a problem status, whether major or severe, and that was down dramatically from a year ago, as well as the lowest in 7 years since 2014. Agricultural interest rates for the second quarter of 2021 ended up being the lowest in the history of the survey in nominal terms, and then when you adjust for inflation in real terms, they were the lowest since 1975. So very, very low interest rates in our district, and that's not really helping stimulate demand for loans. However, farm agricultural loans for operating and feeder cattle, as well as real estate, were not picking up dramatically. For the non-real estate loans, it was the lowest level, except for one time in the 1980s, that we've seen in the survey for the index of non-real estate farm lending. Farm prices for key commodities in our district in particular have moved up dramatically from a year ago. The increase in prices from June a year ago for corn was 90%, for soybeans 74%, and hogs were double the price they were a year ago. So these have helped to increase farm revenues pretty much in our district, and it's combined with strong harvest that is anticipated for this fall. Revenues would be up, quite strongly for corn and soybeans, and that was from last year when we had a kind of a surprise increase as the farm prices for key products were already moving up during that time period, even with a pretty good harvest last year as well. The impact of the pandemic in rural areas of the Midwest continues to be felt. The rural bankers in our survey indicated that 72% of their areas were experiencing at least modest impacts from the pandemic in the past year. It's interesting to note, though, that only about a third of their agricultural loans were actually impacted modestly or severely by the pandemic. So farm economy seems to be in a bit better shape than the other parts of rural areas, and it's a period where the global picture comes into play because exports of agricultural products bounced back fairly strongly after a dip at the pandemic impacts early on. And so it's a period where agricultural products were in demand around the world. In particular, China had a interest in purchasing lots of farm products from the Midwest.